So continuing with example 3, all right. So what I did was I brought this fraction over to the left-hand side, and from there then I worked out what is my LCD, and then I multiplied. So this first term here, what I did to this denominator, I multiplied by x minus 1. So then I must multiply the top by x minus 1. Here, I multiplied this denominator by x plus 7. So the top part I must also multiply by x plus 7. And then I worked out the brackets. So I have 2x squared minus 2x, okay, minus x plus 1, which is this part here, minus, then I opened up my brackets and I worked out this two brackets here. So it's x squared plus 7x minus 2x minus 14 all over my denominator. And at this stage, all right, we can then multiply both sides by this denominator so that I can get rid of this denominator. Okay, so what I then did was I multiplied by x plus 7 times x minus 1, which means that they canceled each other out. And on this side, when I multiply it, I only get 0. So which means I'm only left now with my numerator. And with my numerator, when I work this out, then I get x squared minus 8x plus 15, which is equals to 0. And when I factorize it, it's x minus 3 times x plus 5. That's equals to 0. So when I solve for x here, I get x is equals to 3, or x is equals to minus 5. There's various methods that we can actually use to solve this next example, all right? But I'm going to stick with finding the lowest common denominator, all right, and then taking it from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that 2 over to the other side. So I subtract 2 on this side, and then I subtract 2 on this side as well. So this is minus x over 1 minus 2 over 1. You guys with me? Okay. So if this is equals to 0, then my lowest common denominator here is 2x minus 1. Okay, if I multiply it by 1, I get the same thing. So my lowest common denominator is 2x minus 1. So all over. The 3 here, it's already, this is just multiplied by 1. So the 3, I'm also multiplying it by 1. The x, what's going to happen to the x? Then I multiply it by this 2x minus 1. And my 2, I also multiplied by 2x minus 1. Okay, so let's simplify that. Then I get 3 minus 2x squared plus x minus 4x plus 2. Okay, so all over 2x minus 1. Now, again here, this I can actually multiply by on both sides so that I actually then get rid of the denominator. Okay, so then I can get 0 is equals to, let me look for my like terms. So I only have minus 2x squared. Okay, then my x's, I have x minus 4x, which is minus 3x. And then I have 3 plus 2, which gives me plus 5. Okay. Because I like my coefficient here to be positive, then I divide by negative 1 on both sides. Then I have 2x squared plus 3x minus 5. Okay. So let me continue with the black now. So from there, I'm able to then factorize this to 2x, okay, times x on this side. Then I have my 5 here and my 1 there. So it must be positive. So it's plus here, and there it's negative. So then I have 2x plus 5 is equals to 0, or x minus 1 is equals to 0. So this tells me that 2x is equals to minus 5, x is equals to minus 5 over 2, or x is equals to 1. The next step in solving equations is by completing the square, and I'm going to take you through the steps, okay? So first things first, you need to make sure that here the x squared stands on its own. All right, so we'll do an example where there's a coefficient, and then I'll show you how to deal with that. All right, so first things first, you're going to move this constant over to the right hand side. So then you're left with x squared plus 4x is equals to minus 1. Okay. Then the next step is you're going to write x squared plus 4x, and on both sides you're going to add, okay, half of this coefficient of x. So it's half times 4 squared, right? And then on the right hand side you do the same thing. So it will be minus 1 plus half times 4 squared. Okay, so once you've done that, so once you've added this bracket there on both sides, then you write this as a product squared. So it's x plus what's inside this bracket. So a half times 4 is equals to 2. Okay, and you close your bracket and you square it. Then on the right hand side, you work out what this is. So it's minus 1 plus a half times 4 is 2, and 2 squared is equals to 4. Okay, then it's x plus 2 squared is equals to minus 1 plus 4 is equals to 3. Then what do? Then you square root both sides. Okay, and when you square root both sides, then you have x plus 2 is equals to plus or minus the square root of 3. Okay, then it's going to be x, because you're solving for x, so x is equals to this 2 here goes over to the right hand side, so it's minus 2 plus or minus root 3. Okay, so therefore x is equals to minus 2 plus root 3, okay, or x is equals to minus 2 minus root 3. You can leave the answer like that, or you can further then work it out to be root 3, okay, minus 2. The decimal answer is 0.27. We're rounding it off. And this bottom one is going to be which is then minus 3.73. All right, so the next question, remember what I said, we need to make sure that this here, the coefficient of x squared is equals to 1. So here the coefficient is 2, so the first things first is we need to divide by 2. And when you're dividing by 2, you divide each and every term by 2. So when I divide by 2, I'm left with x squared minus 3 over 2x, okay, minus 20 divided by 2 is 10. It's equals to 0 divided by 2 is 0. Okay, now that this here, the coefficient is 1, then we can proceed with the method. Okay, so what did we say we do here? We said we do x squared, okay, minus 3 over 2x is equals to 10. Okay, so I move my constant over to the right-hand side. Then what do I add here? So what I add here is a half of my coefficient of x. And remember now you take the sign with you as well. So it's minus 3 over 2, okay, squared. And you do the same thing on this side as well, plus a half times the coefficient of x, which is minus 3 over 2 squared. Okay, so now if I write this as a product of squares, okay, so it's going to be x, okay, and then I multiply what's inside this bracket. So I have 1 times minus 3 at the top, which is minus 3. Then at the bottom, I have 2 times 2, which is 4. So this gives me minus 3 over 4 squared. Okay, it's equals to 10 plus, what did I say was in the bracket? Minus 3 over 4 squared. Okay, so this gives me x minus 3 over 4 squared is equals to, let's use our calculators, so 10 plus 3 over 4 squared. Okay, so this gives me 45 over 8. And then what do? Then I square root both sides. When I square root both sides, I have x minus 3 over 4 is equals to plus or minus. Okay, so let's do the square root. Okay, so my calculator tells me that it's 3 times root 10 all over 4. Okay, so that's what I get from my calculator. And then let's continue in blue. Therefore, x is equals to 3 over 4 plus or minus 3 root 10 all over 4. Okay, so therefore x is equals to 3 over 4 plus 3 root 10 over 4, or x is equals to 3 over 4 minus 3 root 10 over 4. All right, we can leave it like that, or can write the decimal value, which is 3,12. Okay, and this one is minus 1,62.